Aloha! I'm Lahaina Lee, and this is your Maui Real Estate Advisor September edition. And hey, we're doing something a little bit different today. I'm trying this actually on my lanai in not Lahaina, and I'd turn around the camera so you could see the ocean, but it's not really possible from here. So anyway, we'll give this a try. Hopefully there's not too much distraction by the wind and the road noise, but we'll see. If you like it, let me know. If not, we'll change it. What is the number one concern in America right now? What is always the number one topic at this time of year and all other times of the year? It's the economy. And whether you think we're in a recession or not, you're probably right. Most economists say that we are not in a recession across the country, but everything is local. And here on Maui, anyone can see that our county is in a recession. It's no big news that tourism drives the economy here on Maui. According to the county website, approximately 80% of all jobs are somehow touched by tourism. And tourism here has been down. According to a recent report from the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism, visitors to Maui in July were down 20.1% as compared to July of 2023 and 23% as compared to the same time in 2019. Visitor spending was off 18% compared to 2024, and the average daily census, the number of visitors we have, that was down 21% in July compared to 2023, July in the same month, and down 24% compared to July in 2019. So you don't really have to be a Yale graduate in economics to figure out that Maui's economy is in a recession. In fact, Barb, my wife and the boss, as most of you know, just called me from Costco. She pulled in to buy gas and pulled right up to the pump. No line. Yep, it's official. Maui is in a recession. In real estate, condos, as they relate to the lack of housing, have been driving the narrative on Maui. The proposed bill to roll back the right to rent 7,000 plus short-term condos has many sellers and many buyers nervous and very concerned. Most realtors in West Maui and South Maui who do any amount of business at all have received the phone call. The phone call is a nervous property owner asking if they should sell. And there's not really just one answer for this, not one size fits all. But the future is so uncertain. Sellers get concerned, buyers get concerned, and nobody wants to make a decision. So how does that translate into real estate? Well, let's do the numbers. Every month we start off looking at the sold trend line for the last 6 months. Sometimes it's useful to go back a little further than 6 months, but that's a pretty good yardstick. You can see back through May, sales have been somewhat consistent, ranging in that 64 to 65, 75 range, with the exception of June. The real story is 2 lines down, pending sales. Those are properties that have gone under contract and will be closing usually in the next 60 days or so. What you should see is the slow decline in the sold row should be following the steeper decline in the pending row. It's easy to see that's not happening. What you can't see is the reason. The reason is the sold row includes recently closed sales at 2 new luxury developments in Wailea. Those condos have been under contract for 2 to 3 years in most cases. So they hit the pending line a long time ago, and they're just now hitting the sold line. So if we consider those high-end condos to be outliers, and if we pull them out of the numbers on this table, what we would see is that in August there were really only 49 sales on Maui. That's getting us down around the numbers in 2008. That was not a great year. The other thing to watch as a trend on this table is that the inventory is rising rapidly, starting with just 473 condos for sale back in March and finishing August with 743 condos. What we see is that the sold line, demand, is declining faster than these numbers indicate, and the supply line, the inventory, is rising even more rapidly in the opposite direction. The median selling price in August was just under $1 million. The trend line is also impacted by those high-end sales, so it's reasonable to believe that both the median sold price and the average sold price are in reality also declining. I know what you investors out there are thinking. 2008 through 2010 were great years to be buying condos on Maui. Well, we may in fact see prices dipping a bit, but this will not be a rerun of 2008. Today's owners have too much equity and a lot more staying power. Now I've taken a deeper dive into the numbers, particularly in West and South Maui, to contrast and compare the short-term rental market versus the long-term rental market. It's very, very detailed and gets a little weedy for this podcast, but I'll cover that in another episode, and we'll have it online as well. I've heard a lot of people say that it's a buyer's market for single-family homes on Maui. However, if we look at the supply and demand, the sold and inventory lines, we have almost exactly 6 months of inventory. That is the definition of a balanced market, according to the National Association of Realtors. The number of sales over the last 6 months has been fairly steady. If we take out July, the number of sales ranged between the mid-60s and the mid-70s for 6 months. Looking down at the pending line, we can see that inventory peaked back in April with 147 homes, and it's dropped ever since. That certainly indicates that sales in upcoming months may also decline. The question mark comes with the inventory. Since April, the inventory has increased every month, winding up at 344 homes for sale at the end of August. What we can see, if we dig deeper into the numbers, is that we have a buyer's market in the two most expensive areas on the island and a seller's market in the two most Maui affordable parts of the island. The median asking price for a home in South Maui, that's Kihei and Wailea, is just over $2.1 million. The median asking price in West Maui, Ka'anapali and Kapalua, is $5.75 million. Both of these areas have an abundance of supply. In Central Maui and Upcountry, we see prices are a bit more affordable at $1.375 million and $1.7 million respectively. Those are both sellers' markets. Each one has, give or take, about 3 months of inventory. The median selling price in Maui has stayed right at about $1.3 million, and that's out of reach for most Maui residents. The average selling price over the last 6 months is interesting in that, for the most part, it's stayed below $2 million. That indicates that luxury buyers, those that are buying homes for $4 million and above, they're sitting on the sidelines. What are they waiting for? I've also taken a deeper dive into the local single-family home markets, which also gets a little weedy, and we'll also cover that, that's a lot of alsos, in a future podcast. So anything related to tourism or real estate on Maui, which is almost everything, is in a recession. But my outlook is optimistic. All of the things that have conspired to damage our economy are coming to a head in the next few months. My crystal ball says that the trough, the worst of times, is no longer than 60 to 90 days out. After that, we're going to see an upswing. So, if you're watching the market and thinking about buying, there may not be a better time than the next couple of months. And if you're nervous and thinking about selling, but you don't want to sell, and certainly if you don't need to sell, it may be just a good time to grab the grass and hang on. That's it for this edition of the Maui Real Estate Advisor. If you have any questions or any comments, please drop them into the comment section below. And if you have any answers, don't wait. Just pick up the phone and call me. This is Lahaina Lee coming to you from Kihei. Aloha!